Cheers, y'all.
Yes. Well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine little radio program known internationally as Smokin' and Toastin'.
Smoking and toasting.
And it's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Welcome to show number 152. We are live on the Book of Faces, and we'll be out, obviously in all the podcast sites and on YouTube once the show is complete. We are brought to you by B&B Butchers and Restaurant at 1814 Washington Ave in Houston, and in the shops at Clear Fork in Fort Worth, and by BB Italia on Memorial in Houston to BB Lemon on Washington Ave. Where they,
those places have great food, but bacon. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this is a place you need to stop.
This is the place you need to go.
Yeah,
Yep,
and just get the bacon appetizer. Their steaks are amazing. Everything they make is amazing.
Can I get a steak with bacon wrapped around it?
You can.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
you absolutely can.
This bacon, however, the bacon appetizer I'm talking about is so thick that it probably won't actually wrap around.
Yeah, it's the thickest bacon I've ever
so good.
eaten, but it's amazing. When the first time I got it, I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna like this. I like crispy bacon.
Oh no!
Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Well, welcome to the show. It's show number 152, and in the studio with us today, our special guest, Michael Gallagher from Trinchero Spirits. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Nice to have you on board. And
Appreciate
I
it.
have, so Ian, I totally forgot to ask you this before we went on live. So I'm going to have to ask in code now. That thing, we don't want to talk about that thing?
We're not going to talk about that thing.
That's all good. So other than that thing, you had a pretty interesting week, I take it.
I did. I actually, so I got a funny story. When you're out and about smoking a cigar, people always want to have conversations.
They do.
You get people who are cigar centric and they come up and immediately start talking to you. And I love that. So I was at, this was months ago actually. I was at the New Potato, which is a bar just on the east side of downtown.
We've done the show live from there several
Right,
times.
exactly.
Yes.
And my buddy Paul owns the place. And I was sitting outside smoking a cigar and having a beer. And this gentleman comes up and starts talking to me about, what cigar are you smoking? And we just get into a conversation. And it was really interesting because he was super excited. He had a box of the Rocky Patel Ray Lewis cigars.
Oh, nice.
Big fan of those.
Yeah.
And he told me all about it. This guy's name was C-Stone. He's apparently a rapper and promoter here in Houston area. And it's I think he has an Instagram. It's at C-Stone the Breadwinner. All one word. The letter C and then Stone. C-Stone the Breadwinner. Anyway, super nice guy. He goes, hey man, I've got something I got to do, but I'm going to come back in a little bit if you're going to be here. I'm going to give you one of these cigars. And he did. He was gone for like a half hour, came back. I think he came back because I didn't see him hang out afterwards. I think he came back just to hand me that cigar. What a super cool guy, right?
That's awesome, yeah.
So I've had this Rocky Patel Ray Lewis in my humidor for a few months now, and just hadn't had a chance to sit down and really enjoy it. So I did that this morning. This is Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Brazilian and Mexican binder with Nicaraguan hunter and filler. And let's see, the appearance. This is a Toro, 6.5 by 52, medium brown on the outside, smooth leaf, very little in the way of veins, small veins all along it. Box press, very firm. This is a great looking cigar. It's got 3 bands on it. It's got a header and a footer. Like a normal cigar has the regular band on, and then it has the footer, which is another purple band that matches it, and then in the middle is a big picture of Ray Lewis.
Yeah, with his full Ravens jersey on,
right.
To remind you,
Big
the whole
picture
thing.
of Ray Lewis, right in the middle.
If you were a quarterback, this is what he looks like. You can, when he's charging in and about to sack you, and then you just move the cigar closer to your face. Yes, right.
It's pretty awesome. Maybe I need to get a cigar and have my likeness put on there while I'm sitting here.
Matt Booth has his likeness on some of the stands of the cigars.
He does.
Your buddy Matt.
That guy's so funny. So the pre-light sniff on this, I was getting chocolate and a little creamy kind of smell and just basic, traditional tobacco smell. There wasn't a lot going on the nose at the very beginning of this cigar. The pre-light draw was effortless. I used a clip on it. It had a very fruity, spicy with sweet cream is what I got on a pre-light draw. It was very interesting. The initial light, instead of being peppery like most cigars start off with a very peppery and spicy kind of thing. Even if they're not a very peppery cigar, they always start out
You always
that way.
get that first little burst.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. This one started off tangy and fruity. I mean, like, very tangy and fruity. Very light pepper in the background. Started off very medium, mild to medium strength on that. The first third of this, I had a slight canoeing on it, so I took a picture of that. There's a slight canoeing going on, and I kind of just let it run to see what would happen, because I'm curious. And so as the canoeing was going on, I had a strong fruit and cedar flavors, sweet wine aftertaste, just a little kiss of like a sweet wine with cedar kind of thing going on. It was a very interesting cigar because it was not what I expected at all. The second third of this, the cedar ramped up and came right up front. The sweet cream and fruity flavors were still there. So when the cedar ramped up, it was just like the strength of the cigar went up to a full medium kind of strength, you know? Instead of being mild to medium, it was definitely in the medium strength at this point. It was still slightly canoeing, but it hadn't really gotten worse. So I just left it just to see where it would go. The last third of the cigar, very cedar and fruity. I mean, this thing was like a fruitcake at this point, laced with cedar. Like if you took a cedar plank and baked a fruitcake on it. It's actually pretty good.
That's a whole new idea for Christmas, you
I
realize.
was going to say that's a Saturday.
Cedar,
Yes.
cedar plank.
Yeah.
You know, everyone does that with grilling now.
Yeah,
That's what this
that's
is. What
right.
tastes like a fruitcake.
The bad news, Ian, I got you a fruitcake for Christmas. The good news is I made it on a cedar plank.
That's right. So this was very much those flavors. There's still sweet creaminess in it, but it moved a little bit to the back. It started gaining kind of a toasty and nutty flavor, and at this point in time, I corrected the canoeing. I just hit it with the lighter, and it took almost no time. The rest of the cigar smoked perfectly straight. The canoeing actually smoked almost the exact same all the way down. It never got like to a worse canoe.
We didn't like keep rolling, right? Yeah.
So, but it just kept the same way all the way down, which was okay. I corrected the canoeing. It smoked great all the way through. Price to quality. This is a $12.50 cigar, $13 cigar-ish right there. I give it a 5.
Ray's got to get his cut, so there's that, right? Yeah.
right.
Ray ain't
I
doing
give
it
it a
for free.
5. It was an interesting cigar. It was such an interesting flavor profile. I wasn't expecting it at all. I don't expect those flavors from a Rocky Patel cigar at all. Rocky Patel, a lot of times I expect a little more traditional tobacco flavors and things like that. This was very fruity, very creamy. I would highly recommend this to anyone who likes coffee. It went very well with coffee.
Wow, yeah.
I would also highly recommend it to anyone who likes very mild cigars but wants to step up and try something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, next step up, yeah.
But also with no harshness. This thing was very, very smooth all the way through, and with those sweet flavors going through, it never had any tongue bite or any harshness in the palate at all. So at a 5, still pretty highly recommended for that because it was enjoyable. So.
Yeah, I've had this cigar. It's been a while actually since I had this, but I've had it and had very similar experience to yours. I'd give it the 5 also because if this were like an $8-9 cigar, I'd give it like a
absolutely
big rating.
Yeah.
But at that price, I feel like it really just is worth what
right.
What and one of the things that we do on the show when we talk about cigars is we try to do what we call a price to quality scale, with it being a 1 to 10, with 5 being you get right what you paid for. In other words, it was totally worth it. If it's an $8 cigar, that cigar was totally worth $8. If it was a $15 cigar, that cigar was totally worth $15. And so a lot of times more pricier cigars, stuff that's over the $10, $11 mark,
super premium
it's really
range.
tough. Those have got to be awfully good to get better than a 5, because now you're getting into what we call a super premium.
Yeah,
So,
and the 5's a great rating. You get exactly what you pay for it to price.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing. If you get below that, maybe your cigar wasn't as good as what I paid.
Yeah,
so.
right, exactly. It might have still been good, but wasn't maybe quite as good. And you got to also try to compare it to other things you've had in the same price range. And I will say that the AJ, the Hoyo de Monterey by AJ has destroyed the $8 price range for me, because now I compare everything to that, and I go, well, this was good, but it wasn't as good as that.
Wasn't as good as that,
so,
right?
Yeah. So, but I kind of went the other way this week, and I had a cigar that was called the Wrath. It was
sounds awesome.
Yes, it does sound awesome. Actually, I was really excited initially because, as I often do, I will look. I don't think it's dyslexia. I think it's some weird little mind quirk that I have where I will look at a word, but my brain wants to see a different word instead. So
did you want to
up
see?
until the time that I lit it, I was convinced I was about to smoke a wraith. Like the winged creatures, So I was all excited. Then I was, Wrath. Okay, well, that could still be good. Wrath is by Studio Tobac. Studio Tobac is the division of Oliva that does nub and cane, and they do Wrath as well. And they might say, well, I've never seen a Wrath. Well, that would be because it's actually only available through Thompson on the internet or mail
so it's
order.
a Thompson exclusive.
And every now and then, although we certainly do support, mom and pop, and brick and mortar cigar shops, every now and then I do like to smoke something from there and talk about it on the show, from the online, and talk about it on the show, because otherwise you don't see these cigars reviewed in Cigar Aficionado. They generally only review stuff that's available at the brick and mortars.
Yeah.
So it could be good if you're going to plunk down some money for a Wrath. What's it going to be like? So I thought I would do this on your behalf. Actually, I did it because I wanted a cigar, but that sounds better.
Well, thanks for taking one for the team.
It was a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro wrapper, Mexican binder, and Nicaraguan fillers. On the pre-light, nice earth, and really that kind of tobacco-y note. I always feel like I'm not being very descriptive when I say it smelled like tobacco.
No, I think traditional tobacco is definitely its own flavor.
It kind of has its own smell. Yeah. I used a punch. It lit easily, and I was really impressed from the very beginning by the super straight burn. I mean, from the moment I lit it, it wasn't one of those like almost straight burns. It was like a razor's edge straight burn. And I was like, that's interesting, because this is one of those, like private label type things.
Right,
you don't always expect those to have the best construction,
well,
right?
because you expect those because of their price point to sometimes
right.
be like
You
that.
expect it because of the price point, and because you figure these are probably not being given to the most seasoned rollers in the factory, right? So you figure, that's going to be part of the price you pay. Hey, if the flavor's good, you put up with a little crooked burn or whatever, not a big deal. Well, this one, it burned just like absolutely beautifully from the very beginning, and I'll go ahead and say all the way down. I mean, it didn't stay razor straight the whole way, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful all the way down. I got earth and chocolate almost immediately with that, Nicaraguan filler, so you got that blast of pepper at the beginning. But the pepper, it maintained throughout, but it wasn't this big sort of loud, spicy pepper. It was more like on the tip of the tongue pepper, as opposed to something that sort of takes over the palate. I also got some notes of dried fruit, particularly in like the second half of the cigar. It was a little bit different taste or aromas from what I've experienced before in the Oliva line. Usually those have a little more of the creaminess. This was definitely more earthy, and the dried fruit and a little darker. This was a Maduro. It was a Robusto Maduro. But it was a medium-bodied smoke all the way through. Construction was amazing all the way through. So I got this in a bundle, kind of a mixed bundle of Oliva cigars that I got on Thompson. It was one of those things where you sign in the website and go, if you're spending X amount, you get this bundle for like, X dollars or whatever. And I was like, that sounds good. I love Oliva cigars. Boom. So it came with some regular Olivas and I think a cane or something. And I really had no idea, even when I was smoking it, what the actual price of this. I was prepared to give this cigar a solid 5. I was very impressed. Thought it smoked well. Totally got what I paid for. Then I went to the site and looked up how much it cost. It's a $4 cigar.
Oh, wow.
So price to quality jumps to a 6.5.
Nice.
Just because you got so much bang for the money on that. I mean, when you're talking a $3 or a $4 cigar, I'm just hoping it doesn't suck. You know what I mean? Like, you're just hoping it's not like, oh, well.
And then you have little gems.
Right. And this is, we think of Nica Libres in that
Obsidian.
area, Obsidian. Yeah. But this one, so new surprise and only available through Thompson, so I may have to go back on
Well,
order. They come in boxes of 15, by the way, which I also thought was.
Can you afford that
Was
at
int-
$4 a stick?
Oddly enough, yeah, it's pretty affordable. So, but sometimes you get things like that. You go, oh God, I got to order a bundle of 100 to get the price. But no, that's not the case.
Just a quick note about buying online versus buying at the retail shops. Okay, the mom and pop shops. I'm all about buying at the mom and pop shops when you can. As a matter of fact, it's a rare time that I go in and I don't buy some cigars. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I will say that you see these deals online, the box them for X amount, and I'm talking about your major name brands, not your exclusives, or the ones like you're talking about where they're made specifically for them and at a bargain price. Those big brands, a lot of times when you see them, you see that price drop, but you also get hit with shipping and handling, which ends up putting it right about at the same price a lot of times.
Exactly.
So if you are shopping online and you're thinking, okay, well, I can just buy this online or I could tip down to my shop, make sure you do that math, because it's way cooler just to tip down to your shop and buy it if it's going to cost you the same anyway.
Right. And
plus, then you walk down to the shop and you get the social interaction, which is awesome.
Yes. And I'll say this, as a person who buys a lot of stuff online, and I don't generally enjoy going shopping all that much, I do genuinely enjoy going cigar shopping.
Yeah.
That's actually fun. And the one thing that has happened to me almost every time I've ordered cigars online, I'd be like, oh, okay, so that's going to be really good. Okay, click. Okay, paid. Good. There's the confirmation email. How long do I have to wait now before I can smoke one? Whereas if you've gone to the local cigar shop,
there's your instant gratification.
Yeah, they're like, "You want me to cut this for you now?" I love that question.
Exactly.
All right, so we got a lot to do on the show today. Michael Gallagher is here from Trinchero Spirits. We're going to be tasting the Amador bourbon, and we're going to be tasting some vermouth. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, Ian. I don't know, for all of the spirits and stuff that I've tried, I don't know if I've ever done straight vermouth. I've had it in martinis.
You mentioned it when we were chatting the other day about this. That
Did you roll your eyes or did you gag a little bit?
Well, no, I'm curious. I have no idea because I've had it in plenty of mixers, but I've never had it like as just here, try this. So, I don't know why it's never occurred to me. I mean, there's alcohol in it. So.
Well, right, but hey, there's alcohol in Malort, and we all remember how that went. So that's word to the wise. But no, I was thinking about this. I was thinking that Michael was bringing this in, and I thought, well, I mean, he's no dummy. He's here to represent his company. He's not going to bring something along that we're going to be likely to dislike, right?
He's not going to malort us, right?
He's not going to. Let's hope not. I wouldn't expect it from a rep. I would expect it from like Alan Denny, or somebody like that. But I wouldn't necessarily expect it from someone who's representing.
Speaking of Alan, I spoke with
who
him.
Nobody cares.
Right,
about.
Nobody cares about him. I spoke with him earlier today in his cigar shop. He's hoping up and running by next week. We're working on getting in there. I think we're talking about first week of October.
He's going to be on the island.
And, we're going to go down to Galveston. We're going to see if we can get a Galveston brewery of some sort to join us on that show. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh, what a terrible idea that would be.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah. I don't know where you come up with this nonsense. Yes. All right. So anyway, we have a lot of interesting tasting to do. Plus, tasting, I think, some very interesting beers. Barrier Brewing Company has released a beer in conjunction with, and I always hesitate to bring up bands because I figure you're going to probably mock me like you do with Chevelle.
Only if it's Chevelle.
Yeah. They have released a Pilsner called Barstool Warrior with Dream Theater.
Dream Theater is hard to make fun of.
Okay.
They're a little overindulgent, but they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, they've got the chops. Okay. So Barrier Brewing Company, Barstool Warrior, Dream Theater Pilsner. We'll be tasting today. Anchorage Brewing has an IPA called Pie Assassin. I knew that would make you smile. I like
that.
And from Four Fathers Brewing, which is not forefathers as in our forefathers who founded the country, but the number 4, Four Fathers Brewing. We have from them today a raspberry heavy hitter Belgian-style imperial stout. So this should be interesting. So all of that to taste, plus the aforementioned bourbon and vermouth, and we promised to get to this, the story of the artificial tongue, which is all about how whiskey is going to be tasted now to keep counterfeit whiskey away.
Did you ever see the cartoon The Tick?
Yes.
It was the evil...
Yes.
The evil
the
guy
tick is
called
still
the Tongue.
on. This tick is still on like Hulu or something like that. One of the
Well, they
one of the
made a
streaming
live
services.
action
Yeah,
of
the
the
live
tick
action
now.
they're doing. Yeah, so that's coming up. Plus, Polygamy Porter, which we have had here on the
yeah.
show before. Very good. It's illegal in North Carolina.
What?
I'll tell you why. Coming up, it's Smoking and Toasting, and it's show number 152, and we will be right back.
That's too funny.
All right.